Hi, my name is Katie Height, and I am a senior editor here at Scholastic, and I'm so happy to be here with Christy Mandan, the creator of Millie Fleur's Poison Garden. Hi, Christy.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So can you tell me a little bit about Millie Fleur and how the Poison Garden came to be?
Yep, so the poison garden came actually before Millie Fleur. I read an article about a real poison garden in Annick, England at a castle, and it made my brain kind of do that thing where it just kind of lights up, and I thought, oh, picture book. But, all ideas like that aren't really created equal, so it took me a while before I had a story. So my next step in that process was to figure out, okay, who is the character in this story and what does she want or what's the problem? And then Millie Fleur was born out of that.
And it was Millie Fleur who really drew me to the story in the first place. She's just that perfect mix of every kind of offbeat character that you've ever, loved on TV and in books. And she's just such the perfect character to bring this story to life. Can you tell me a little bit about the inspiration between the plants themselves? Because as we know, the plants are not poisonous in Millie Fleur's garden, but they are very full of character, each on their own.
You're supposed to write what you know. And there were a lot of times growing up that might not have had the language for it necessarily, but there were times where I felt like what I had to offer was received as poison. This is not what you're supposed to be doing, or this is not what everybody else is doing. But daffodils are poisonous, and a lot of people don't know that. And so, what kind of things are poisonous to people, so to speak? And, grumpy comes to mind. Like, nobody wants to be around anybody who's grumpy, but we get grumpy. It's not poison, it's just a normal emotion. And so I thought about these emotions, and these characters just kind of were born out of that. So she has her grumpy Gilliflower, and she has her sneezing Stickyweed, these things that don't sound very appealing, but she loves them anyways because they're a part of the garden.
We're working on a couple of books together, but for the first book, it did come to me as a pretty complete dummy. So you already had a lot of art in place, you already had some finished pieces in place, and now working with you on another project, I know that you do a lot of that in tandem. The words and the art do come together a lot, but then many of those pieces are separate as well. So could you talk a little bit about that process?
Early on in the process, I was thinking fun names, like words that would be fun to say out loud, like Gilliflower, or toothwort, things like that.
I like the curdled milkweed
The
personally.
curdled milkweed was such, like, I emailed my agent several times, like, I have this written down on a post-it note, and author me and illustrator me are like completely at odds because I don't know how to draw that.
So there are so many layers, as we've talked about, to this book, but if there's one big thing that you hope that young readers will take away, what's your big, like, this is what I hope readers take away from Millie Fleur's Poison Garden?
I think it's just to stay curious, stay curious about the people around you, the people that, are new to your neighborhood, or stay curious about the things that light your brain up, like if I'd have just been like, oh, okay, that's cool, and just carried on, then Millie Fleur's Poison Garden would have never happened. But because I kind of poked at the thing, that sparks a little excitement, that led me somewhere else. And so I think that's probably the thing, is just stay open and stay curious.
So we do have more Millie Fleur coming after this
Mhm.
book, which is very exciting.
Mhm.
Um, Without giving too much away, how would you kind of describe where Millie Fleur goes to next?
She notices something about Garden Glen and sets out to change it, I guess, or open minds again. She's a disruptor. That's really, without giving it away, the best descriptor, I think, for Millie Fleur.
And there are still very universal themes coming through, facing your fears, being brave, which I think is just so lovely. And we can't wait to have so much more Millie Fleur.
I'm excited.